Good morning. Well, it's good to know that we got some nice new varieties coming down that's going to help us out as we go into the near future. It does not take us out of a situation that we're in right this minute. As we're moving into the 2017 year, this is potentially going to be the third year in a row that we've had 700,000+ acres. Up until 2014, that hadn't been done consecutively like that at all. We have not had two 700,000 acre years back to back for over 22 years, and definitely not three in a row. So we are fixing to get in a situation where, our input costs are going to go up because of disease and other things. And so if you think about, just some timely advice, I kind of look into this like I do my children right here. They're very much alike. This peanut seed and my children very much alike. I always wanted good children. Not always easy to come by, right? It's hard to get them here. They're very expensive to get here, and so if you go buy a bag of seed, it's not very cheap, right? And even more expensive to get that seed or get those children to raise them right and to make something of themselves, just like it is this seed, to basically buy that seed, put it in the ground and protect it. It's going to be expensive to make this crop. And so they're very much alike. And so I just want to kind of keep that in mind as we go through this. And I'm going to be rather quick, but just wanted to point a few things out to you. First, we got to handle this with care, just like you would your children, unless you're frustrated and want to, put a hand to them, which we don't always want to do. But you got to handle this seed with care. We got to know what we have. And when you get that baby, other than a cute baby, and you're loving them, and you love them, you don't know what you're going to have. You don't know what's going to be the end result of that child as you raise them, but you got to protect them. Know what you have. With these varieties, we definitely need to know what we have, especially if you're going to grow some high legs. There may not be as good in resistance as some of the ones we're used to, like 06. So know what you've got. This German and Vigor. We talked about that earlier, Billy did, that the germ looks good, but there is some variability there, so there's some ranges there. We're going to get into some lots that may not be perfect. And if you put that in a situation just like your child, you're right, you think you've raised the best child in the world, if you put them in a not so good situation, they may not be successful. And if we put this seed that may not be perfect in cool, wet conditions in April because we want to put it in the ground early, what's going to happen? It's not going to be as successful. So we need to know what we're putting the seed in. The other things, don't put the seed in an environment where it can't grow. I just mentioned that a little bit with cool, wet conditions. But think about this. The number one thing that we're going away from in these 700,000 years is rotation. And as we continue to do that, that's going to continue to cause more and more problems. And the one thing that we can't do is we can't buy our way out of a bad rotation. We know that. So just keep that in mind. Make sure if you're going to plant early, and Lord knows we've been polling a lot of growers, and some of you might have already been polled at some of the production meetings. When are you going to start planting? And 90% of them are before May 10th. They've said, we're wanting to get this in the ground as quick as we can. April up, all the way through May 10th. Tomato spotted wilt's a big deal with that. Just make sure you're taking care of potential problems. We definitely don't want to put it in a situation where you're putting the seed in conditions that are not conducive. Like I said, the soil temps, associated with planting date, but moisture. We don't want to, theoretically dust it in like we talk with other crops. And I know you guys don't do that, but I do get calls where we have put it in dry dirt. And so just be aware of that as well. But this disease is a big situation. It's going to get worse in some areas because of this rotation. But you got to protect it. We spend a long time with our children, some 18, 20, 30 years, right, with some people. My mom would say she's probably still trying to protect me. But we've got to do that with this seed also. We can't just plant it and forget it. And I've been on those calls as well. So don't forget them. Know what you're getting into, especially with the tomato spotted wilt. and planting early. Know what you're getting into, and especially the diseases, insects, and weeds. Do not try to cut corners in this bad rotation, because it will bite us, and it has bitten us already. So just be aware of that. Again, you cannot reduce inputs and expect high yields. And I have talked to many growers that said that they're in survival mode. Hey, we got better, great. That brings us out of that survival mode a little bit, but to me, the definition of survival is putting putting into the crop what is needed in order to make a good yield. Not to plant it, put the bare bones out there, and hope that you're just going to make a certain level. Because several of those growers that I've talked to didn't make that in the last 2 years. So we've got to definitely put what we need to in this crop, especially in this 0 to 2 year rotations. And again, if we don't pick the right varieties, which I'm showing here, and we put them in a bad situation, they're not going to perform. And there's nothing that we can do to some degree to come back from some of that. So we've got to know what these varieties are capable of, and we've got to know where we can put them and where we can't. So just keep that in mind. I know most of it's going to be 06G, and that is a very flexible variety for us, very dominating variety for us. But even it can be put in a situation where it's not going to perform right. So with all that in mind, I'll end that with questions. I didn't want to take too much of your time, but it is important this year that we put what we need to in this crop and watch it. Because the way it is outside right now, 70 plus degrees, if we stay that way, what's going to happen? Nematodes, diseases are going to be very, very much in gear by the time we plant that first seed. So just watch it, be careful, call us if you need us, please.